I feel like you've been going through times where you're going through a transformation, but you feel like you're doing it alone. Even though logically you know that you have people in your corner who is rooting for you, but in this time space, while you're going through this very internal changes, because on the outside it may seem like there's not really much going on. You are doing the same things, like going to your job and your daily routines, tasks, chores, things like that. But internally, you know that you're going through a change where you're not necessarily where you were, but you're also not in that next life and or next version of yourself that you envision yourself to be. And in that part, it can feel like being in a womb. It's dark, it can feel scary, but at the same time it can also feel comfortable. But I think that the biggest thing that comes up is that you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what the next steps are, and that can be very scary. But something that I've learned in my own journey is that when I'm in that moment where I don't know what's gonna happen, that's when I know I'm really on my path, because that means that we're walking on the path with faith, not trying to control universe, God, people, circumstances, because the only thing that we can control is ourselves. And not in a way where we're trying to hold ourselves back, not that type of control. The type of control where we know there is a safety within us to fall back on, no matter what happens in our life, no matter what happens around us or in the world, that we are safe. We are so freaking supported. We are so loved. We are so abundant, and that this space and time is all that matters, and how we process it and how we experience it. And we get to experience the nothingness, because in the nothingness we remember that we are everything, that we are so connected. And I feel like in this space too, it brings us back to being so freaking grateful and humble. I love how the light around me started to shift to really, I feel like, emphasize the importance of this message of how when we're in this space of not knowing and just trusting that things are going our way, and not in a way where our ego wants it to go, in a way that it works out for the highest good for ourselves and others, and even better than we can imagine, even better than we can feel, because our imagination all starts with how we feel within, and so within is reflected in our outside world. And to be in that nothingness is to be in the core of our internal world, and and from that we can create anything. We can become anything. I almost see it. What's coming to me right now is and I'm not a scientist or a big science person, however, like neural pathways, we were told that you can't teach a dog old tricks. However, and this is not to say that humans are dogs, however, when it comes to our brain neural pathways, we can rewire and or create new neural pathways to where we can, what do you call this, what I'm trying to say, you know, when they say you either use it or lose it. So let's say we have a limiting belief that we are not good enough, and within that limiting belief there's this pathways that connects it from what other people have said, whether it's our family or whoever it may be, society, etc., stereotypes of where we've come from, or even just things that come up from ourselves. And we have that cord, and the more we keep connecting that cord, believing that cord, then that's what we will experience outwardly, because you can also see that cord as like a magnet to experiences, opportunities, people, places that match that frequency, because that chord itself is a frequency. Think about like a guitar string, like when you strum a certain string, then it reaches a certain frequency. So however, if we cut off that string and we put a string that is way more beneficial for us, and we use that and we strum that, then we practice that frequency over and over and over again. And then when it needs tuning, of course, you tune it again. This is what's coming in for me. I'm not a musician. And going back to the neural pathways, then our neural pathways get stronger for, let's say, the other belief that we are good enough, we are worthy, we are safe and capable, and we may remember that string that we used to use. However, it serves us no purpose anymore to put it back on the guitar and use it, because that's not the song that we're playing anymore. The song that we've created at the time of our life and or experience in that vortex of the womb is not where we are right now. And we don't need to be held down by the versions of ourselves. You can see this space as being reborn and rebirthed and created anew. And I love that. I love that for you. I love that for us. I love that for this whole collective. So I hope that this resonates with you. Know that everything is energy, and your energy can be renewed. Your energy can be restored. Your energy can be transmuted to whatever the fuck that you want it to be. And it doesn't, the process can feel like, what the hell is going on? But it is a process. And like a musician, there's a process of writing a song, composing it, and learning how to play instruments in itself. However, it's worth it. Love the process more than you love the outcome, because it's in the process that things start to connect, and that version of you is being molded and created, and you're doing that. Like, you're creating a whole being, a whole new brain. And I'm not saying that our brains right now and our nervous systems right now is wrong or anything like that. It's, think of it as us updating our systems and debugging it. We don't need to keep carrying these programs within us that has been given by our families or higher figures that we've put and internalized as authorities within ourselves, that they're more important than how we feel day to day. No, you are worthy, and you get to decide what that looks like for you, how that feels like for you. I love you, and know that you are not alone, and you got this. I believe in you. Bye.